Yeah, we're gonna definitely we're gonna do this.
That we gotta change up that tarps off photo in the intro.
If anybody wants to know how important Dakota Josh was to the Vancouver Canucks, that was the game. Okay, so condiments. This is everything.
Everything. So we run the gamut completely, right? And
I'm talking about sriracha on the bottle.
Sriracha.
It's that silent R that screws me up.
Is it a silent R?
I don't know, like who's tall?
Who's tall?
Chris Pronger, wasn't he tall?
Chris Pronger was tall. Yeah.
Welcome to the PP1 podcast.
Are you kidding me? That's what?
What's up?
Chilling.
Sorry, this podcast is too much work. I'm gonna need to take a breather. I don't think I can professionally podcast.
I don't think we've ever professionally podcast.
A la Anthony Richardson. It's like, sorry, I got to take a break. Like, it's the NFL, man. This is pro sports. You don't get a break.
No breaksies.
It's not how this works. Welcome to the PP1 podcast on Hockey Podcast Network, presented by DraftKings. I feel like we got an overlay somewhere here. Presented by DraftKings, Gametime. You know anybody else that wants to do? There we go. Right on. That works. DraftKings, promo code THPN. Get it on it. Man, Canucks suck, hey?
Yeah. They really struggle with those fast teams, eh?
They struggle with teams, I find.
They definitely don't they don't look like they've thrown their fastball yet. Like they've been getting wins and getting points, which I guess during this time of like figuring out your games, you might as well be collecting points somehow. But yeah, similar to last year where we went through that streak where they just couldn't beat anybody that was really good, but they were capitalizing on all the lower end teams.
Yeah, this is not pretty. It's really not. Like Garland gets in a fight, he lands more shots than the Canucks had at that point in the game tonight.
I know. Yeah, a little piston jabs.
Yeah, it's good if he's the only guy doing anything. The power play did, I think, by the time because we're doing the third period now.
Mike Tyson's punch-out character. Piston.
Mac? Oh, Piston Honda.
Piston Honda.
Piston Honda. He's good.
Yeah.
I could beat him. Like in a video game.
Yes.
I feel like in real life I would get decimated. But
Piston Honda would do the beatdown.
Yeah. Man, you know what? It really changed things, though? When Garrett Cole didn't make that play to Anthony Rizzo at first. And that's why the Yankees lost the World Series tonight. Because screw the Canucks, because they suck today.
Screw the Yankees.
And screw the Yankees. Congrats to the Dodgers. Congrats to former Toronto Blue Jay Shohei Ohtani, to former Blue Jay Teoscar Hernandez, and Kevin Kiermaier. Congrats, guys. Freddie Freeman, Canadian.
Yeah.
Way to go, Dodgers. Way to go.
Cool story. I don't know if anybody... I only just recently watched the whole Freddie Freeman thing on like why he always wears the long sleeves.
Oh, I think I vaguely remember this, but get into it.
So he plays when he plays baseball on the world stage. He represents Team Canada, obviously, as a Canadian. We know that.
Yes.
Which because he's unreal.
He's very good.
Was born in the States. His mom was born in Canada. Passed away at like a really young age of skin cancer. So to honor her, he plays for Team Canada in her memory, and then always wears long sleeve shirts.
Just prevent from sun.
Yeah, skin cancer awareness, right? So doesn't matter if he's playing in LA and it's 40 degrees out and the sun is beating down. You'll see Freddie Freeman in long sleeves. Pretty cool.
I mean, so just because we play slow pitch, which is definitely not Major League Baseball. But I mean, those compression sleeves, they can be pretty cool, though. Like cooling.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's like, because I've seen him in like the baggy or long sleeve stuff too. But
so he's just an absolute unit.
Yeah, just a unit.
That's pretty sweet. You guys, if you want to come and comment along, join the chats on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much to everybody that was, getting us to the point where we could be back on Facebook. We're not going to do the Twitter thing. I'm not paying for professional Twitter just so you guys can see us in there. We're better than that. You're better than that. I'm better than that.
Did
We
you
still
see?
have
Did you see Elon at the last rally, the last little Trump rally there?
no.
Oh, do yourself a favor and just go YouTube it.
Like, I mean,
Last night we were talking about Fat Joe performing in New York. I YouTubed that. So glad I did. It was so bad.
it was bad.
Yeah, just go ahead and
I
YouTube
feel like
yourself
Twitter is
a
going to
little-
get me there quicker.
Yeah,
Elon Musk.
it's Musk C.
Elon Musk rally.
It's very awkward.
I mean, I saw Donald Trump like wearing a vest. This isn't a political podcast, but we do talk about voting from time to time.
Some of it was like the Hulkster was there and he couldn't rip his shirt.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, my Wi-Fi on the phone is not working out.
Don't run the Wi-Fi on your phone because the last time that happened, you crashed.
Yeah, that's why we started late. Just saying. Elon Musk rally. Here we go. Still also loading on 5G. Here we go. I'm not seeing this.
It's fairly long. It's like the good clip is just to go watch like Kimmel or something like that.
Okay.
The Kimmel one's good. I'll send it to you. I'll send you the cut.
He's like getting jacked here. I don't get it. It's a bit much. But hey, he's a champion.
I'll send you the cut. It's
Dude,
funny.
send people to the moon, so pretty cool.
Yeah.
Send people to the moon, pretty cool. Man, the Canucks suck. I think I mentioned that already. So we had 2 rundowns because we were going to do the show.
Though? I don't know if they suck.
Yeah, they're not looking good today. So we had 2 rundowns
tonight.
One was THPN, DraftKings, Gametime. Here's what I wrote for the Monday show. Canucks haven't lost since our last show. Just saying. Pretty awesome. Archie Bains, Potts' first goal. We'll get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty nice one. Almost scored a second one. Petey finally scores. The skate returns. We get into that. 18 games this season. Very awesome that the Canucks were in the skate for almost half of their home games this year. And then it just goes to crap. The Canucks suck. The power play sucks. Sea Love sucks. I said sucks a lot on the rundown. So I mean,
I think there's a little bit more to them than they just like tick the suck box in every category.
But that's the point. Like they've done more than that to get to this point where I've at this point ticked the sucks box. Maybe that's the name of is that the name of this episode? Ticks the suck box. I don't know if that's probably not where we want to be going with this, but that's fine. Before we get into crazy things, I want to talk about some funny things. So I was watching the game on Saturday and there was like a Hyundai ad like right before it was like coming back from like a whistle or something.
Okay.
And they see this guy like do like the lacrosse spinorama and he shoots it through the window into the net. How many times do you think they had to do that take before they got it right? Or do you think it's just digital and it just worked?
If they had to do it, I don't know. Those guys, those pro lacrosse players are like pretty legit.
But like,
probably not many takes.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you'd hit the car a few times, don't you think?
Those guys are good, man. I don't know.
You think? Okay. It just seemed interesting to me.
When those guys whip a lacrosse ball around, like it's almost like an extension of their arm when they're like.
I'm talking about the lacrosse move. I said with the hockey stick.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a lacrosse player.
No,
lacrosse
I don't know.
Digital. I'm sure it's
the Robbie Shrimp. The Robbie Shrimp move.
Oh, Robbie Shrimp. Good callback. Yeah.
I know. That's what I'm
Junior team, Robbie Shrimp. Do you remember?
Yeah. Robbie Shrimp was he was a lot of fun. He had a little bit
junior team. What junior team was it? Do you remember?
Oh, what junior team? Was he not London?
London Knights. Yeah.
Yeah. That team was stacked, if I remember correctly.
Stacked like pancakes.
With syrup and whipped cream. Whipped cream. Tyler Myers, 1,000 games.
Yeah. Big news. That's tribute to that guy that we've ragged on a lot.
That's true.
But he's found his place. He's really like, I don't know. I think they found like Connor Garland, same idea, right? Really found his role, like not miscast anymore, not being utilized incorrectly.
Sure.
But yeah, I think testament to getting to 1,000 games is a big deal. Like you got to have some pretty serious health work out in your favor. You got to get games real early, which Tyler Myers did. We all know that coming out of Kelowna. You got to be able to skate. Well, and not all guys, but it sure helps being able to skate and stick around in the league as it's changed over those 1,000 games. Yeah, and yet, I mean, as a defender, you got to find a way to get in a lineup every single night and not be surpassed by other players, right? So, yeah, pretty impressive stuff.
That's a good point that you bring up. So, I mean, most of Tyler Myers' contract, well, his first contract with the Canucks, he was getting ragged on, and there was because he
wasn't very good, but it wasn't all his fault.
And that's my point. So, he kind of earned his way back in as far as the fans go, but you're right. He was an everyday defenseman. Like, he was still a valid option every single night in a top 6 spot. So, I mean, if he was that bad, then it would have been different, but he found his way. I mean, Eric Branson, we could go on that. I don't know how many games he's played.
That's a bad defenseman. Right? Yeah. The way when he was in the lineup, I kind of liken his contract, his first contract with Vancouver, to like what Alex Edler's end of contract was for Vancouver, right? He was sort of miscast, having to play in that top 2 role when he probably was much better suited to be playing in the bottom half. When Edler was averaging like 18 minutes a night, he was good. Like he was a solid guy. But the problem is that there was nobody else on the roster that could eat those minutes so that he could be an 18-minute a night, 20-minute a night defender, right? Like, right. And that was a similar thing. Yeah, it was a similar thing with Myers. Like, right. We noticed Myers was not great and plugging away in the bottom 6 sometimes, right? And there was all sorts of struggles that are bottom 2-3 pairs and was struggling sometimes, right? And as bad as it was during some of those times, it was significantly worse when he was out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Just a testament to how bad that decor was, right? I mean, I'm sure if we were to go back and look at some of those guys that were playing on that decor, it looks pretty freaking ugly.
Yeah, there's some rough days. There's definitely some rough days. Now, there is a silver lining to his 1,000 games. Usually you get a stick, right?
I think it's a silver stick, yeah, not a silver lining.
So the Canucks one-upped the silver stick, and they gave his kids silver mini sticks.
Yeah.
So I can't even remember when this happened, sometime in our Jersey City days, when the first time where I saw like the composite mini sticks. Remember when that just came out of nowhere?
I remember those, yeah.
Went from just the plastic ones to like a $30 mini stick. I'm like, who the heck would buy these? Clearly everyone. And you could get right and left handers, which was a big deal.
But this thing's like $45.
Yeah, like $30-$45. So his kids get a silver stick. You think they get to bring those to school? Play mini sticks?
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah, like you would be like royalty in the mini stick game.
On the mini stick thing, those mini sticks were sweet. I don't know how many thousands of dollars those silver plated mini sticks cost. Like, you have to assume that Myers was obviously a little more expensive than normal because he's so damn tall. Do you think he gets a regular mini stick, or do you think he gets
like the Willie Mitchell size one?
Yeah. I'm just looking at 2021 defensive pairings opening day lineup. Oliver Ekman-Larsson paired with Tyler Myers.
That was the top pair.
Quinn Hughes paired with Travis Hominick.
Jeez.
And Jack Rathbone paired with Tucker Poolman.
My man. Your man.
My man. Yeah, so there's a pretty, that's not very far removed. That's 2021, 2022.
Bogus.
Yeah.
That's frightening.
I think it's like,
that's what it looked like the year before.
I mean, I think we might as well look it up, right? But like, I think that's not a lot of years that have passed, right? And when you think about the quality of the roster now and what it was even towards the start of last year, like how much they've improved this roster, right? I mean, having guys like Danton Hyen and Kiefer Sherwood skate around in your bottom 2 lines, like that's a pretty big testament to improvement, right? I mean, you have a guy like Teddy Bluger who can play up and down the lineups. Like, it's the depth that this team have is crazy. So when they finally do figure out their fastball at some point, this team is going to be dangerous because it's not got things figured out all the way yet, and it's already still a fairly dangerous team that can go plug away and win games.
So was it too much of a change to start from what last season was? Like last season they were playing with house money.
Yeah.
And I mean, definitely some overachieving, I think, but maybe some coming to achievements as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it overachieving or is it playing to your expectations?
So you don't have the hot hand of Kuzmenko to start the season, right?
Sure. Yeah.
You don't have.
Was he really hot to start last season?
Wasn't he? No, he wasn't. No, he was the season before. I take that back.
Yeah.
So I think there was a little bit more going to start the season last year. And
sure, yeah, you had JT Miller and Elias Pettersson leading the league in scoring for the first little bit with Quinn Hughes right there.
And this season, I think it just continues to bug me that they continue to get power plays and extended ones. And that should be taking kids lunch money at that point. Like they're just as a unit, as a setup, the Canucks have a ton of weapons and it feels just like everybody. It's like, how many times does it take you to plug in your USB to like do your microphone or your, whatever you're plugging into your computer? Like, oh shoot, I think I got it wrong. And it's just constant, but it's every time, right? Like every time we do this podcast or a football show, I always have to look and like, okay, is this the right way to put the USB in? Every single time. Eventually we get it. Eventually you get it. But how many times do you keep plugging in before you get it right? And you just keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. Like, it'd be a smart idea, Ryan. Why don't you label this way or top in or something, whatever? Because it's not always a little thing that's on there.
So just label the power play and it'll fix everything.
That's what I'm saying. Like label it. Figure out your stuff. Stop trying to do what you think is the obvious thing and feed it to Quinn Hughes, or in this case tonight was feed it to Hronek. You got to start doing that cycle around. You got to start bumping it around. They are a lethal unit if they're doing things that
I don't know if they're a lethal unit. Have they been a lethal unit since Tocchet got here? Do they just have lethal players?
I think it can be both, though. It's just that it's so predictable. Like, every single time on the power play what's going to happen. You can predict it every single time. It
doesn't look dangerous. It's not like watching, vintage twin power play. It's not like watching, Pat Kane skate towards guys on the power play and then just somehow back off and him have a free lane to put the puck wherever he wants. It's not watching, vintage Washington power plays. It's not like watching Tampa do their thing. It's different. It's. But they move. There's a lot of skilled players and they don't do anything with it.
The Canucks aren't even moving the puck, though. Like, they're getting it to the same three options up top. Nobody's getting anything down low. They're not creating any movement or any disruption. It's the same thing. So you can start to predict that. You can start to get sticks and lanes, and it happened multiple times. I don't
think it's like a start predicting. I think the league has just been predicting it for a while now.
Predicting them.
Yeah.
But that's my point. If they've been now it's just a set thing. You already know what's going to happen. That's like the long and short of it. Like, it needs to get back to the point where you're moving the puck quicker, where you're not giving it to the obvious shot. Like, sure, Quinn Hughes is a great puck mover and he's going to distribute the puck great. Well, maybe you need to start working on one side. Like, get back to where they were working on getting PD the shot again or something. Like, there has to be some kind of a change that gets them back to at least scoring one goal. Like, they're not even scoring on the power play at all.
Yeah, like, no, it's ugly, man. It's not a good looking power play, and there's really no way around it. And I don't know what they do to fix it. Like, I always thought, like, I remember when the Twins would be struggling and Sammy Sala was still around, right? I mean, they would just give it to Sammy on a 1T and just let him bomb it at the net because too many shots are being blocked. And then lo and behold, all of a sudden people stopped blocking shots when freaking Finnish Chopper was around taking out guys' legs, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, try something new. Why not make the high shooter, yeah, why not give it to a defenseman to bomb for a couple of shots, right? Like,
well, they started.
Why not just let PD unload, right? Like let JT send some bombs at some people and let those guys block it for a few times. If we're not scoring on the power play anyways, why not just start letting them? And that's probably, I mean, obviously I'm not a coach. I don't know, but I always think, just attack guys, like just go after them a little bit more, right? Be more aggressive. We're always sort of looking for the perfect play, and the perfect play never materializes because these are good penalty killers on other teams, and it's just not going to work that way.
Do you see this team as dangerous right now? They don't look dangerous? If you were an opposing
periodically,
team,
they look more dangerous 5-on-5 than they do on the power play.
I just think that they're. I mean, the try. I don't even know if
this team has dangerous players. This team is missing. This team is missing a Dakota Joshua. They're missing a power guy that goes to the net like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would be excited to see, and we talked about this a lot last year. I would be excited to see Garland obviously reunited with Joshua, but keep Garland and keep Petey on that line. Like, see what happens.
Yeah,
try a couple things. Like if we're already looking at moving a guy like Höglander up and down the lineup, then just try some things out. Just see what you have there a little bit, because nothing currently is working to the point where it looks dangerous with any type of consistency, right? There's dangerous players that do dangerous things, but I'd like to see them unlock some more stuff here. And I think there's an extra game, there's an extra gear for a guy like, even for a guy like Garland, there's an extra gear. And I think there's an extra gear for sure for a guy like Dakota Joshua.
I think the scary thing though is they should already have something going, like something decent going. It shouldn't be that you're waiting for Dakota Joshua to come. Like, let's be honest, a third line player, right? I mean, a hybrid second, third line player. You shouldn't be waiting for Dakota Joshua to be your savior.
That's where we're at now. We're waiting for something to give a shot in the arm, right?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it shouldn't have to come from the depths, of the injury report.
Sure.
I mean, if the injury report had Pettersson or Quinn Hughes or Miller or Besser or one of those guys, that's a different type of shot in the arm, because now you're getting something back works. But all the things that they're paying to have work aren't working.
Yeah, I mean, you can get funny boost from weird places, right? I mean,
what's Jeff down to?
Yeah, bring back the Barbarian.
Yeah,
totally. You think back to Matthias Oling being injured in a series, who was a very good defenseman in his own right, but didn't stir the drink.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He shows up back in a game playing hurt, making a play behind the net, and the crowd goes absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
And
or Edler making the big check.
That's the boost they needed. Yeah, same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? They comes from weird places, and sometimes it's players like that give it to you, right? Don't discount the fact that in Dakota Joshua's first game back, especially if it's a home game,
yeah,
the crowd is going to be absolutely rocking, and the team is going to be picked up from something like that for sure.
There's no way they lose that game, whatever game it is. Like, they just won't.
That's going to be an emotional game for him, and that he's going to have that whole team. It's not going to be a regular I'm back in the lineup thing. I'll tell you that.
No, it's I won't say it'll have a playoff feel to it, but it'll be close. Because I mean, that's how you get with those kind of those everyman fan favorite guys. And I mean, it's a story. Like,
sure.
The guy comes back from testicular cancer, and let alone just coming back from it. And again, we don't know to the degree of how bad it was and how easy it was to cure. But I mean, he's coming back, and he's going to play professional sports after that. Not just sports, like as a professional elite athlete. I think that's incredible.
I totally agree. And just 2 weeks ago, I watched, I watched the Browns, obviously, so it's relevant for me, but I watched Nick Chubb make his comeback after that horrific knee injury.
Yeah.
I had to get 2 separate surgeries on 2 separate ligaments that his knee went just straight sideways. Like, this human shouldn't even be walking in it. It was the second catastrophic knee injury of his career. Guys don't even come back from one. He just came back from a second. And this was a glue guy on this roster. And he came back, and the crowd was just like in awe. Guys on other teams helping him out, saying they respect him. Like, that was a boost that team needed. And it's going to be similar, if not more, when Dakota Joshua steps on the ice.
Yeah, it's going to be a big, I mean, you think of Mary Lemieux coming back from, Hodgkins, right?
Yeah.
And then dummied the league after that.
Yeah, I mean,
guy plays half the season, and he's, different level.
Almost Canuck Phil Kessel, same thing as Dakota Joshua, right?
Yep, exactly. We're gonna sour the moment for a second. So all the things that aren't going well, but there's one thing that's kind of going well, and then they let in the other thing that did go well last season and isn't working out this season, the goaltending. So Demko is still not back yet, which that's fine. It is what it is. They look at Shelovs to start, and he's getting beat on those long screenshots. Lankinen comes in, and he's been pretty incredible. And again, not perfect, but pretty incredible. And it, I think, is a big reason why they were getting the wins up until recently. And then Shelovs comes back in, and again, maybe it's a full team effort tonight. Some of it was, but it just felt, and maybe this is not a game I should be bearing him on, but it kind of felt like it was so convenient that's what, that was one more thing that was going on tonight.
What, that they gave Shelovs the start versus a good team?
Well, I guess Lankinen had started 5. Like, you got to play both of those guys.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks he played.
Yeah.
You can't just let him rot there.
That's fair. I think what happens? What's the next step? Like, do they send him down, and then once Demko gets back?
Lankinen is already the proven NHL backup.
Mm-hmm.
And we said this last year too, when Demko went down for an extended period of time.
Yeah,
like, we talked about it right from the beginning. Like, everybody was like, "Oh, like, we're going to be completely fine. We have DeSmith, who's been really solid all year." And I likened it to that sort of backup quarterback thing, right? Like, no, you have the backup on your roster who's the backup, who comes in and can play games for you in a pinch and do the job. But your third string starter is the development guy who theoretically should have the higher ceiling, who should be the guy that you go with. And that's exactly what happened last year, right? I mean, they didn't think twice about, I know there was an injury, but they didn't think twice about moving to Shelovs and then running with him even after DeSmith was healthy. And so I think that he moves back into that role. The difference being now is that you have 2 guys that can theoretically play that spot of NHL starter. And I think, it's hard to ignore the fact that he played in Nashville and not think that he didn't pick up an absolute ton from UC Saros. Like, does he not look like a bigger version of Saros in the net? He looks different. He's not a classic Canucks goaltender. No, he moves around different. He probably moves around a little bit to, similar to Casey DeSmith. He's super quick on his knees. He's fast on the angles, right? Like, he looks. And
that's a development thing. That's a goaltending coach thing, right?
Yeah, he looks and he moves a little bit like UC Saros, right? So I'm completely fine with Artur Silovs, but Artur Silovs is a development guy. Like, there's nothing wrong with him continuing to learn the job as a backup. And when or if Demko comes back, then 100% Silovs is the guy that's down, unless Lankinen starts, effing things up royally, which I highly doubt, because he's a real pro and has been at this for a while now. He knows how to do his job. They've talked about it a couple of times, but the reason the guy left Nashville was so that he could try to find a bigger role somewhere, right? So,
and he's taken it.
And he's looked really good. Like, he might be, and we should maybe talk about who we think the best signing has been this year, but he might be the best signing for Vancouver in this offseason. And for I don't want to say the second time in a row, but, second or third season in a row, it's been a late offseason signing for a guy that came off the scrap heap. That's just looked really, really good. And Puster would be the other guy.
It's a shrewd move for sure. And I think it's still out on if Sprong is going to be a guy that bounces back. And maybe you're right. Maybe it's one of those things where it's Dakota Joshua and all of a sudden a bunch of things just intertwine and connect. And all of a sudden, they find this formula. And maybe it is. And sports can be funny that way. Perfect example is the LA Dodgers tonight against the Yankees in game 5. 5-0 Yankees. I'm watching at the rink. Couple dingers already in that game. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. However, the game got so interesting. Little bloop to first base. You see Anthony Rizzo go and he's running. Garrett Cole doesn't run to first base. He's like, what are you doing? He kind of jogs. The ball was rolling a little bit. Anyway, long and short of it, can't remember if it was Kiki Hernandez who got to first base. Anyway, so they get a runner on. Well, then they walk, and then they get another hit. Then there's a 2-run double. Then there's or a single or a double. Anyway, long story short, they get 5-5. Yankees blow it. Tie game, 5th inning. You know how sports work. It's that one thing, right? It's that one bobble. You let the team back in, and the Dodgers were rolling the whole series. Sure enough, they take the lead. Then I think Yankees go up, Dodgers come back, and then again just kind of trickles
Pinch
away.
Runner, Benny the Jet
And it's over.
Rodriguez.
Yeah, like it happens, man. And it's funny things in sports. So maybe it is a Dakota Joshua thing. Anyway, we'll leave that alone. I'm going to intro all of our ads now. Check out ads from DraftKings and Gametime. Okay, so I know the real life version is so different. I know, but we got a top 5 tonight. But I have another thing. It's Halloween tomorrow.
Yes.
Are you dressing up, or you dressed up today?
We dressed up today, but I am going to dress up tomorrow. And then we get like a murder mystery thing going on at work on the day after. So on the 1st, which is kind of funny because they're doing Halloween. So yeah, today we did like it's the office's color, like the company's color is green.
Yeah.
So they did Green Day today, and so everybody dressed up in green, and then me and a couple of buddies dressed as Green Day. So that was pretty great.
Just wake me up when it ends, okay?
Yeah, when September ends.
Yeah, that's right. It's over.
Got you. And then so tomorrow, I think I'm just because I'm like worn out from all these costumes all week. I think tomorrow I'm just gonna, I don't know, I'll go as Joey Bats or something like that. We'll make it easy.
That's good. You should just go as Aaron Judge and just not show up tomorrow.
No, I only don't show up for the playoffs.
Oh, sorry. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true in real life this season, but for a different reason, something about a heart or something. I can't remember. So anyway, it's Hawaii. It's Halloween tomorrow. And we've had this discussion, but like, let's get into like what brings you joy on the Halloween treats. We're not doing a top 5. Just like this is an open forum, a round table of 2 people. I mean, there's a circle on our screen, so we can call it a round table. So like, what gets you going for Halloween treats?
Halloween treats?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like just them being like readily available.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's because it's the best chocolate bar, and I don't believe that, but I like the little mini O. Henry bars. Like it's
okay.
It's kind of that like Rushmore of when I'm rooting through the kids' candy sacks, which I get to do less and less now because they, one doesn't even trick or treat anymore. Like
works.
I'm looking for O. Henry bars. Like I'm looking for Snickers bars. I'm looking for Reese cups.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And everything else is just like, okay, every once in a while you might get a bonus, like a crunchy bar or something like that. Right.
Right.
Or like a Butterfinger. But generally you're looking for like those 3 where if you reach your hand in and you pull one out, you're totally good with that. You grab 2 or 3 and then go sit down on the couch, watch some TV. It's
kind of like, if you don't like onions in certain dishes or something, it's the texture thing, or maybe peppers are your thing, and you're eating, you kind of pick out those things. It's like the reverse for these candies. Like you're going to pick these ones out of like, yeah, we got Smarties and they're great. People like them. Kit Kat, people like them, but you find the ones you like. For me, like Coffee Crisp is just always there. Coffee Crisp and Snickers for sure. I could probably easily go through like, if I didn't have any guilt whatsoever, at least 20 of each. But
yeah, it wouldn't take much.
I'd feel shameful by doing that. The old Crunch Bar, but they're great on their own because they're flat and crispy.
Like I know what you're talking about, like the Rice.
But then they do for Halloween. I mean, I haven't seen one forever. Probably don't make them anymore. But they would like do the small version, but they were like chunkier. So you'd get like basically like a Coffee Crisp sized one instead of just a flat.
New Halloween Kit Kats are like that.
Oh, okay.
Instead of a wafer, they got like Rice Krispie stuff in it.
Interesting. And then Reese's peanut butter cups. Reese's.
At work, they did have this today. Like this year at work, they had the Hershey's 2-box, like with like the 45 candies in it. And it was like it was like a caramel crunch chocolate bar, and the other one was like a stuffed Oreo.
Ooh,
Hershey, and it was really good. So I was a big fan of those.
The one thing I'll give Americans that they do so well is their treats. So Jersey City trip, this would have been like, actually, I think it was 2010. We were there in San Francisco for the Niners and the Giants. Ended up being NFC Championship preview game. It was awesome. At Candlestick, no less. And the night before, we were going out, I think we'd gone out for dinner. They were going to like the drugstore, like a CVS or something like that, or Walgreens. And so we go down this one candy aisle, and they like, I'm sure you've seen these before, but like the Reese's peanut butter cups that are like a pie, and you get like 2 of them, and like it's just like, it looks like a pie. And then the Snickers is like $11, and it looks like the log cake you get from DQ. Like you would have to cut it with a fork and a knife. And there was another one in there too, and I'm laughing. I'm like, do I buy this or do I just leave better off? Like, it just seemed like if I bought it, that was a lot of money to spend on a chocolate bar. So I never ended up did it, but I did see the Reese's cup in Canada one year, and I just thought, I'm like, that's
I saw that they weren't that big though. It was like about the size of a hockey puck.
No, these ones were massive. Like we laughed. We're like, this is overdoing it. Like it just felt like we didn't need this.
Even the hockey puck one was not like I got it one year, and it just was not that good.
Yeah,
give me a small like bite-sized one any day.
Yeah. Just hammer through it. So I would say those are the big ones. I don't know if there's any other ones that really stick out for me. I mean, chips are always nice. You get, an all dressed mix up as you're walking.
Yeah, you get like 4 chips in there.
But it's nice. Like you're walking through, like, oh, well, they're not going to miss the chips. I'm going to take those ones. So you just keep eating the chips. And then, I mean, do you guys, I guess, don't go trick or treating at all anymore?
I think Layla's going to go this year.
Yeah. Are you going to tag along at all?
Oh, well, I mean, we'll probably hit our neighborhood. We got like 80 houses in this little block here.
So I've told this story once before, I think on the show. So up in our neck of the woods, there's a bunch of different neighborhoods, different communities, different tax brackets, we'll say. So when we first moved back to town, we would go trick-or-treating, or when we first came to the mountain up here, we'd go trick-or-treating in this one little area when the girls were younger. And there was this one house, and it was the adult house. You came out, husband and wife are on the front lawn, and they've got a booze cart. So they've got hot chocolate, they've got Fireball, they've got whiskey, they've got vodka, whatever. They're like, fill it up. The kids don't get all the fun. You guys do too. And so I still remember, like, we're like, what is going on here? We had our coffee mugs. So they're like, yeah, fill them up. No problem. So I can't remember what they ran out of. I think it was like rum or something. And they're like, oh, looks like we're empty. Just a second. I'll go back in the house and grab a new bottle. So they were topping up free drinks on Halloween for parents.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was one house by the kids' school. It wasn't that awesome, but it was pretty awesome. And it was these 4 dudes that had 2 barbecues running. And they were just giving away hot dogs with like fried onions and like smoky. What do you have? Like, I don't have any candy, but I got hot dogs. And they just had a cooler full of hot dogs, and they were just cooking hot dogs for people. And it was like when you got out of the bar, right, when you were younger, and all
Street
you wanted was a dog, right? Street meat. Well, it turns out that after trick-or-treating with the kids for an hour and you hit this house, the dog's all you need to go do at least another 30 minutes to an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the perfect pick-me-up. Yeah, great stuff.
Shout out to those people. Shout out to those houses doing it different.
Yeah, doing it right.
Exactly. That's impressive. That's impressive. What else do we have for Canucks? Do you want to talk about anything Canucks? We went over goaltending. We went over how they suck.
I think there needs to be some sort of shutout for Kiefer Sherwood. That guy is just an absolute beast right now. He's getting it done offensively. That line is, any line that he's on is scary, but that line right now is like one of the only lines that looks like it's just doing shit every single line. And talking about doing shit, that guy is stirring shit up every single shift.
It's got to be annoying to play against them.
Yeah, he's doing shit like he's walking into scrums And instead of pulling a guy out he just like hacking him on the ankles on the way by, like completely unneeded. But he's got guys pissed off at him. He's got guys trying to punch him in the face. He's logging, 6, 8, 12 hits a night. Like, I think up until recently, he was just like tied for he was in the league lead for hits. Like, I think pace wise, that puts him up like pretty close to 400 or something like that. Like,
it's going to be
he's just all over the place.
Might be tough to like maintain that for a season.
Well, yeah,
I remember. So that's like what a lead. I remember I was playing with you and James. It was like the Flyers ball hockey team, and I got invited out to come play one of your guys' like shinny games. Like, it was a practice shinny, whatever you want. And I'm thinking like, okay, just like take it easy the whole game. Take it easy. You don't want to like, run your bag off and be puking kind of thing. Because you guys played like hardcore. So anyway, like 5 minutes in, that went out the door. It was just like, you're dogging it. It's, I thought I was going to like lose my lunch 5 times. But there's this one guy, I can't remember who it was. And he was, good guy, like wasn't mean-spirited or anything. But every single time I had the ball, whether it was the corner or whatever, he was on me like white on rice. And I just like, he'd be just little checks, little hacks, little this every single time. And I'm like, I'm not going to enjoy playing this today because I can't do anything. He's always on me. So it was constantly like looking. I'm like, okay, I got to make a dish out pass or something because I can't take this for the next hour and a half. So like the guy played his role perfectly. Wasn't like creaming me, but it was just, he made it really uncomfortable for me to enjoy the game that night, but he was doing his job. And Kiefer Sherwood is that guy. Like, just,
yeah,
like, you can match up against him. You're like, I'm not going to get anything done tonight.
Yeah. Like, physical dude. Like, he's not like yappy. He doesn't look like an absolute psychopath like Rafi Torres does. And like when Rafi would hit guys, he would just straight up blow them up. Like,
yeah,
I still remember that hit on Brent Seabrook where he just like looked like he crumpled along the boards after he got him. But he's just so relentless. And I think if I could compare him to a former Canuck, I think he probably reminds me a little bit of Matt Cook, if we're being honest, right? I mean,
that's an
he's
interesting
constantly around there. He's got a little bit of an offensive touch, but he is just no quit. And this is a skilled player. Like, this guy has put up points at every level he's ever played at. But yeah, he's really like identified himself with this physical grinding guy who just never quits on the forecheck. So I think eventually the points are going to come a little bit more frequently for him, and it might take some sort of injury for him to get up the lineup. But I'm just happy wherever this guy is playing on the line right now. And even if you want to plug him in on a top line or something like that, just to inject some energy, this is a player.
Dude rocks number 44, so he's got that going for him. Right. I'm just looking at its stat line tonight. It doesn't say hits on there, unfortunately.
No hits yet? Yeah, I mean, I counted it.
Doesn't have a category on it, so
yeah, I counted at least 4 just in the time that I was watching, and even same thing. He goes, he's battling. I can't remember is Brandon Dillon. He's battling Brandon Dillon in along the far boards, works his way to the net, gets the net, misses the rebound, then gets it on net. Just as he's going down, Dillon hacks at him. He squirts out the scrum. Dillon's down on the ground. He comes in and starts cross-checking him as he's trying to get up. Just enough to like put his stick in his face and not hurt the guy, but just be like so annoying and so disrespectful as the guy's trying to get up off the ice. And Dillon just went right after him, right? Like he wanted to fight Kiefer Sherwood, and Sherwood was like, I'm just annoying, and that's kind of how I play my game. 59
hits on the season so far.
Yeah, what a beast.
That is a lot. That is a lot.
Yeah, there's room for a guy like that on my roster.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we're talking about probably what? Difference makers in the sense of that, you're noticing a difference when they're on the ice. There's probably only a handful on this team right now, and he would be one of them.
Well, you just talked about how hard it is to make a play when there's a guy on you all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You get a guy like that in a 7-game series. I mean, Canucks know what that guy's like to play against in a 7-game series, right? So now
I think that's when we're going to notice the difference for sure. So, I mean, I guess if you keep building up your resume for the season when it does matter, because they don't have a Zadorov this year, they don't have a Lindholm. They're going to have. I mean, Connor Garland has been just amazing. I think hopefully you're going to see a little bit more out of Höglander. I mean, there's a bunch of guys that kind of look like they've dropped down a little bit. And I wouldn't single out Höglander because I don't think that's fair. I think as a team, it just needs to be better. But have we talked about Sprong and Branson sticking around on the lineup for the foreseeable future? We haven't talked about it. Would you like to?
I talked about who, sorry?
Sprong and Brandstrom.
Well, I mean, I guess we haven't. We talked a little bit about Sprong, and I think Sprong is kind of as advertised, right? I mean, it seems like the Canucks, all these good Canucks teams have had a Daniel Sprong, or I mean, I always think back to Jeff Tambellini when he was squirting into the lineup and could score a nice goal and be a bottom six guy with skill, right? It was around that time that we started, creating a bottom six that had skill versus a bottom six that was just identified as a checking line, right?
Yeah.
And I think like Sprong is a guy that you can insert into the lineup, but I think there's also a reason why throughout this guy's career, he's only played like, 12 to 13 minutes a night. And it's just like those defensive deficiencies, right? I mean, he's always on and he's always looking to turn it up the ice. And I think he struggles with the same types of habits that Kuzmenko had. And that's fine, because the difference is that we're not paying him a huge amount of money, and this is an offensive role player, and those are hard to find. And there's going to be places throughout the season where Sprong is going to factor in and have to play a role, and we're going to need his offensive weaponry for us to sort of advance through this season. And he'll have a spot. Like it wouldn't surprise me if he, did the 44-point thing again and averaged out at 12 and a half minutes a game and bagged himself, 20 to 25 goals. Like it's a normal role. And then he says, can Tocchet be the Sprong whisperer defensively, though the entire team is struggling there lately? Yeah. I mean, it's possible. I think, I don't want to see him lose all of that offensive edge that he has. And I think part of the reason that he's weak defensively is because he's pushing so hard offensively. Right. So
I think
I don't know if he can coach it out, but they're going to have to just coach some. Yeah. They're just going to have to coach some quicker decision-making defensively back into it, so that not that you need him to be a world beater defensively. You just need him to not be, you need him to be at the very least like replacement level. So it's possible. I don't know if he'll ever turn himself into a 60 or 70 point player that he has the ability to be, because his defensive game isn't where it needs to be. Right. But I mean, offensively, in terms of overall skills, he's very similar to Brock. He's like he's a one-shot shooter who knows where he's supposed to be. He's a better skater than Brock, but Brock's a better guy on the wall and Brock's a better guy in the D zone, right? And he had to learn how to do those things. I don't know if Sprong has that, but we'll see, right? I think there's definitely a role for him, even if he doesn't get that. The Brandstrom stuff, I think Brandstrom's fine. I think like for a guy that was a throw-in on a trade, right, that we had to sort of take back, and all of a sudden this guy is injected into our lineup and showing some offense. I like that he gives like a different look on this decor than the trees that we have back there. And there's definitely a need for those guys, and we have to have them. But you can play matchup based now with a guy like Brandstrom, right? There's probably times that you can bring him in. He looks really good defensively, and I haven't noticed him be really bad defensively either. And somehow his time spent with Desharnais has been pretty good. I mean, I haven't really liked Desharnais' game with anybody else other than Brandstrom to this point. So yeah, we'll kind of have to see where that goes. That's a great project. And I think if you talk about Tocchet being a Tocchet whisperer to Sprong, I mean, I'm looking more for a guy like him to be, that's a guy that you can take some time to develop, and he could really possibly turn into something if it works out.
I think the one thing, and again, I tend to skies falling every now and then, but in all seriousness, there's a decent amount of depth right now that they can probably cycle through and try to find some answers. They're not having to, I mean, there may be a trade or something that happens for sure, but you look at what they're able to put as a roster, and it's a funk, I think is what it is. I mean, they lost 6-0 tonight, yeesh, but never fun when you're wearing the skate jersey, but it's good to know that there are options on there, that this team actually has some opportunities to put in, to really lean on Lankinen for a bit, or to have Sprong and Brandstrom, or to have Arshdeep Bains go in there. Like, you've got some guys that can come in there. They're not screwed. They're not doing call-ups for the sake of we need to fill roster spots. Like, this is what it looks like when things aren't going well, but if a switch gets flipped, like, they can go back to being absolutely dangerous. So, I mean, I joke about it, obviously, but there's a good team here, not players. There's a good team here. There are a lot of things with this team that we can look forward to.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Bains, right? Scoring his first goal on Hockey Night in Canada. Then scores again on Diwali night, even though they called it back. Which was super lame. For a guy that literally has had to fight and claw for everything that he's been given, never drafted, never carried that clout, doesn't walk around with a chip on his shoulder, just like literally, I hate saying this because it's so cliche, but literally just puts his work boots on every day and gets the job done, and so focused on being the absolute pro that, like, I mean, I was wondering if he was going to smile after he scored his first goal. He's so serious about getting the job done correctly, right? I
think that's why Yannick Hansen likes him so much too.
Yeah. What would Teddy Wong be an expert in if he applied himself? It just doesn't seem to want to reach his potential. Probably podcasting.
You could be great, Ted.
Like, I think we just walk on here most nights and just like wing it. And I think if like we really put our effort down and like did the homework, and this was our job, and we spent a lot of time doing this thing. So
like season 1,
we could be like at least a third better than we are.
That's like that was like our first season. I think that's fair. Top five. What do you think? I got one. I put it in the private chat.
Said it.
But what? Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
You did. Well, you got to just look at it. Do you want me to just tell you? Because it's not hockey related.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't even know how many there are, but sure, I'm down.
I think there's enough. I mean, there's got to be at least 10. You want to go for it? So we're gonna, based on this, you should know. So we're gonna do top 5 Mario power-ups / suits. So now I'm gonna probably try to stick to like as much like NES as possible. Maybe some Super Nintendo in there, because I didn't play like Super Mario 64 or all the other ones. There's probably like a billion things he could actually be. So I'm gonna give you first dibs because I think
I get first dibs.
Why not? I'm a good friend.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go Metal Mario.
Metal Mario. Oh, like the hammers?
No, just Chrome Mario.
What was that
You've
from?
Never seen this? I mean, I mostly remember it from like Mario Kart, but it's just it's like an invincible Mario. He's like heavy. You use him in like Smash Bros.
I've never played Smash Bros.
It's just an all chrome looking Mario. Metal Mario.
I'm looking at this. I feel like a complete loser. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Chrome Mario, Metal Mario.
It's like, okay, so like the immortal Mario, an N64. See, I didn't have an N64.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't get involved in the cool things that came. I just went from Nintendo to PlayStation right away. So I missed a bunch of systems in the middle. So I played everyone's like Super Nintendos and N64s and Segas and Sega Saturn and Dreamcast.
There you go. Metal Mario was clutching N64. So there you go. I got back up.
There you go. Okay. Well, I didn't even know what that was, but it looks super cool. Looks super cool. I'm gonna go. So that was a pretty good one. I'm gonna go with, only because like when this came up, it was pretty cool. So I guess, would you call it like the hammer throw? The turtle? What were those guys? Turtles? The hammer throwing ones?
Okay, yeah.
The Hammer Brothers suit. Yeah, Hammer Brothers suit. I also was, because he went same idea. I guess goes black, kind of goes a little bit more ninja style, and he gets the hammers to throw. I thought that was pretty sweet.
Okay. I'll go Tanuki Mario will be my next one.
Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah. That's good. You know what? Just because it's fun, the boot. The green boot. Like, I mean, every time you got it, you gotta admit, you enjoyed it. Like, you just hop in the boot, you're like, you know, wind up boot, have some fun. It's not really a Mario. It's just like, you could be right.
I will. I'll go a little bit off the board here, and I thought this was like a really cool one when I was growing up, but just caped Mario.
Oh, so you go Tanuki and cape.
Just Super Nintendo cape. That first time that I got the feather, and then I got to learn how to use the cape, that was like a big deal, right? So caped Mario.
You stole like the two best ones, because Tanuki, you can turn into a statue. Or no. Yeah, that's the one, right?
I don't know. Can't remember.
What was the one where you turned into the statue?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it was the Tanuki one. Okay. Well, you've taken all the good ones, so I gotta get into the flying game somehow. So the Immortal P-Wing, that was like one of the first.
Oh,
like,
wow, yeah, okay.
You know, the P-Wing, you just start flying automatically. I think that was impressive. Just because it was cool to fly for the first time, but when you had like, there's a few levels where you, like the ship, the flying ship level, where it was really tough because it was progressing so fast. I think in Mario 3. So like, if you had the P-Wing, you waited it out, or if you had a turbo controller, you just held down the A button until it was done, and then you just like.
Were you a turbo controller kid?
I wasn't really. I think my cousin had one, so occasionally I borrowed it for certain games, like occasionally like track and field, or like there was certain, like, you know, maybe like Contra or something where you could just have like the turbo button on some stuff. But I never really used it because I found that most of the games I played didn't need it. So, but it was fun. It was cool every now and then to have, like, the track and field games were the best because those games were brutal on their own. Yeah. You just have like charred up thumbs. So, yeah. Did you ever have the turbo controller or a turbo controller?
I didn't have turbo controllers back when I was a kid, but I was always jealous of the turbo controllers.
Did you have any of the cool controllers, like the bazooka or?
I remember getting I remember renting the Power Glove and then just being so fascinated with the idea of playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out, only to find that it wasn't what I thought it was.
It was a huge letdown. I got it in the other room. I bring it on.
This is a shitty controller. That's all this is. So
yeah, man, I was so excited to get that Christmas morning, and within like, by the time we had it set up and we're using it, I'm like, this is a huge, like that day, I was like, this is a huge disappointment. Even like my dad's trying to figure out too, and I still remember we're looking like, this is not what we were hoping it would be. Like, what a letdown. Hey, you get this cool gadget, you're like, I think we can all agree this sucks.
Yeah,
like,
this
just
is not
a huge letdown. Yeah. So okay, so I took P-Wing. So who you got now?
I'm going old school. I'm going oldest school, and I'm talking about the very first Mario power-up, and that's Mario Fire Suit.
Okay.
Shoots the fireballs.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, there's so many things out there. I mean, he was pretty versatile, that guy. He was pretty versatile. Jeez, this is a tough one. You know what? Screw it, because it did come in handy every now and then. So I'm gonna go with another original as the star, the invincibility star. What's better than just running through everything and being
that's pretty good.
Like being indestructible for, you know, a short period of time. Imagine you had that power up in sports where you could be indestructible. Basically, it's like being Connor McDavid. Basically,
yeah, you get like Adrian Peterson mode.
Yeah, you get, you know, 15 seconds of just, there's no way you can touch me. That'd be awesome. Maybe that's what people need to talk about for a superpower. 15-second invincibility. It could probably go wrong too, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah, that could probably backfire in a lot of ways. I bet. So it's like, well, he used it at the wrong time, and a lot of the world's in trouble now. So I've got. Let's recap before we get there. So you've got. We're just chill out, Grant. We're not done. Yes, we're aware of what the frog suit does and how it was the worst possible thing above water. Yeah, the first
There's
time
always stuff where you would get the frog suit, and then like
you're
you
like,
could
yes.
never get to water, right? There'd always be like a Koopa Troopa or something like that
Yeah.
around, and you could never make it to the water before you would lose the suit. It was so frustrating. But then if you ever got there, which was so few times.
Yeah, and that was the weird thing about that suit. Like, you really weren't able to use it a lot, but it seemed like the coolest thing when you got one.
Yeah, Super Mario World 2 is actually like super underrated.
Wasn't that Mario World 3?
Oh, that was 3. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. 2 was an interesting one.
2 was underrated.
Just because you get all the characters, right? You can be
Exactly.
Toad, you can be Princess. So you've got Tanuki, you've got the Cape,
Yeah.
you've got Fire Guy.
Mm-hmm.
What am I missing? You had another one, I thought.
Yeah. No, Fire Guy was my last selection, so I'm going to go off the board, and I'm going to take Dr. Mario.
You're just a chemist now?
Just because it's fun.
Okay. Dr. Mario, I like that.
Chrome was the other one. He's got it.
Chrome. So you got 4. So now that 5?
5 would be Dr. Mario.
Dr. Mario. Okay. We're really going off the board for this. So I've got the boot.
Okay, nobody took just classic Raccoon Tail. Yeah, that's surprising.
I think that was getting there. So I've got the boot. What else did I take? P-Wing.
P-Wing.
Hammer
Bro.
Hammer Bro. What was the other one I had? Star.
The Star, yeah.
Okay. I do kind of
there's
want...
like Cat Suit Mario, Samurai Suit Mario.
Yeah, there was. See, like I said, because I didn't get to be all those I didn't have that game to like use all those cool ones. So I'm going to go with the one that for whatever reason I seem to have played a lot through various systems. And we're going to go with Tennis Mario. I don't know. I just Mario Tennis on whatever system.
It's just Mario with a racket.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I remember playing with them. Remember Scandia had like Mario Tennis? I think. On like the little, it was like the tabletop one where you had to look down on the screen.
Okay.
Remember those, like the old school, like kind of the joystick arcades? Yeah. Waluigi. Yeah. See, I really shouldn't have picked this top 5 because I feel like I left out so much good stuff. We did a disservice by just leaving it alone. So whatever. It was fun, but we might need some kind of a redo down the road. Because I really feel like I mean, the boot was cool for me. I was excited to give the boot.
Like top 5 Street Fighter characters or something like that.
The car that E Honda breaks. That car. I mean, imagine having that car. You're like, I'm just going to park here. I got to go grab some quick groceries. I'll be right back. And then you go fight in a bathhouse, which was like, a little weird. That was a weird thing. You don't really realize it until you're older. And like, that seems a little sketchy. Probably don't want to be fighting in a bathhouse with a dude that's clearly wearing a towel. Like, what if you beat him? What happens? Just seems a little weird. That's basically it for us this week. It was a lot of fun. Just doing what we do. Grant came by, ruined everything. Thanks, Grant. Appreciate it. Jeez. I mean, so what if we've had some good times together? Just throws out the frog suit and just totally derailed anything I had thinking going on. So Canucks lost 6-0. It wasn't fun. That's pretty much why we tried to start this show a little bit earlier, because they sucked today. It wasn't a game that they'd want to remember. Thankfully, they come back. Who do they've got next game?
I don't know who's next on the schedule. Let me just
Chicago again, or
let me just do a little peeksies here.
I don't know. I've been so busy with everything else getting ready
for the Sharks. So that was the game that everybody thought She Loves was going to get, but they got the Sharks on Wednesday. No, sorry. on November 2nd. So Saturday night, baby.
Guaranteed
Cali Roadie.
Guaranteed game night, because just when you think it's a guaranteed win night, the Canucks have better plans. So that's what it's like to be a Canucks fan. It just is, but we embrace it because this is our team. Any final words? You're good? Yeah.
I just recently started getting through the rest of the Amazon Players Series NHL. Scenes footage, really good. I just wrapped up the Captains episode, which features R. Quinn Hughes, obviously. So if you haven't had a chance to watch it, that episode is great. But they're all actually really good episodes.
Okay.
Found out I'm actually like I'm a big fan of Matthew Tkachuk, and I think I had this like burning hatred for him, just because he was a Flame for so long. But he spurned them and then went to Florida and won himself a cup, and that guy is fun to watch. And ultimately he did the Flames a little bit dirty, so that's kind of okay in my book. So I guess I'm a Matthew Tkachuk supporter now. So yeah,
I can cheer for that. I
was feeling like I shouldn't be liking this guy as a player, but just because I think he still had some flame on him, but he didn't. So
I think it is just a Flames thing. I think that's why. Yeah, that's every player though. I mean, we all wanted to hate Drew McGinley as much as we could, but I mean, he smiled so much.
Yeah, I mean, you just respect a guy like that, obviously, right?
Yeah, but you still hated him. Like, you hated him as a Flame. You were happy to hate on him. Yeah. So that's a good point. I do want to bring up one thing, because this is definitely coming up in our household in the next couple nights. It was announced today that Deadpool and Wolverine is on Disney Plus. So, folks, if you haven't seen it, make sure the kids aren't around. It is definitely not appropriate.
It's available right now. We can watch it right now.
I believe so. Yeah.
Let's go.
It's a gooder. I watched in the theaters in the summer, laughing by myself because they were all busy doing skating stuff. It's a piece of work. It's pretty good. So anyway,
it's really good.
It's there's a lot of fun to be had. Anyway, on behalf of Ted, I'm Ryan, and Grant, who's in the chat. This is the PP1 podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network, brought to you by DraftKings, promo code THPN, and Gametime. Go get some tickets. Go watch yourself a game. Even though the Canucks suck, it's a lot of fun to go to a game. I'm just kidding. Love you, Canucks. Love you. Yeah, PP1 podcast. Have a great one. Peace out.